up, y'all? This be your girl, Miss EYG, Queen Era in the building. And welcome back to my channel. Welcome back, yeah. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Uh, welcome back. Uh, welcome back to my channel. What? Welcome back to my channel. What? Welcome back to my channel, you guys. As I just said, let me reintroduce myself. This be your girl, Miss EYG, Queen Era in the building. Thank you to all my regular subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning back in. And for all my new viewers who might not be a subscriber yet, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. And while you at it, hit that notification bell so you can be alerted when your girl is dropping these gems, dropping the content. Dropping that content, okay? Dropping the music, dropping all of that. Yes, I have an accent that comes and goes. Um, sorry, y'all. I'm just in a great, pleasant mood. But how y'all doing? Happy Sabbath. If you know, you know. Today's the Sabbath. All praise to the Most High, y'all. But happy Sabbath, y'all. So as you see in the title below, as you see in the title below. Oh, before I go there, yes, I want to make sure you guys hit that like, comment, and subscribe button, okay? And also the notification bell. I did forget to say that. So make sure you guys hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Don't be afraid to comment on your girl's video, okay? Don't be afraid. So as you see in the description box or whatever, the title below, we are going to be talking about Queen Esther. Yes, Queen Esther. She is one of the queens, obviously, of the Bible. And she had, oh my goodness, she had a significant story to tell. And I had to make a video on her. But before I get into the video, make sure you guys comment below if there's any one or if there are any queens of the Bible that you want me to do a video on or deep dive in or a deeper look into, I should say, or the kings. You know, I'm not really trying too much to get into the men's the stories because I feel like everyone knows all the stories of the Bible when it comes to the men, the Abraham, the Isaac, the Jacob, the so forth on. But if there is a story that you would like me to do or do a deeper dive in or kind of like tell it in a way that no one else has told the story, or kind of look for those specific gems that no one really mentions when they're mentioning that story, then let your girl know. I have no problem with doing that. Okay? So I try to keep it on the queens to give them their recognition, to tell their stories, but I'm not going to neglect my kings because, they're a huge part of our biblical history as well. So, with that being said, let your girl know. Make sure to hit that like button. Like. Hit it right now, y'all. Hit it right now. It just take a boop, just a second. Oh, and your girl is still on her way to 100 subscribers. We almost there. So hit that subscribe button. If you're watching right now, if you are not subscribed, hit it. 100 is not a lot, but hey, we all gotta crawl before we walk, so hit that subscribe button, okay? Hit that like button and just boop, that's it, that's all, just boop. I will greatly appreciate it. I love you. But without further ado, let's hop right into this knowledge. Let's get your Bibles out. Make sure you got your Bibles, your paper, your pen. We're gonna talk, okay? But yeah, without further ado, let's hop right into this knowledge. Let's get it. Let go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my kings and my queens, let's get out your Bibles. And we are going to go to the book of Esther. It's 10 chapters with Esther, so we are going to read the entire thing, but for the time's sake of the video, it's certain parts we're gonna skim through, to kind of make it a little bit short, but like I said, it's 10 chapters, so I have to, We're going to start at the very beginning so we can see how does Esther kind of fit into all of this. I don't want to lose anyone, okay? So we are starting at chapter 1, verse 1. And it came to be in the days of Ashtash, I don't know that name pronunciation. He is the one who reigned from India to Cush, 127 prophets. In those days, when the king sat on the throne of his reign, which was in the Shushan, that in the third year of his reign, he made a feast for all of his officials and servants, and the power of Persia and Media and nobles and prince of provinces were before him. Okay, so I just want to make sure you guys understand. This is a king in this time, right? He's making a feast, okay? For, like I said, for all the princes and basically everyone that's in his kingdom, in his palace. When he showed the riches of his esteem and the excellent greatness of many days, 180 days, and when these were completed, the king made a feast lasting 7 days for all the people who were present, like I said, in his kingdom, from great to small in the courtyard. So this is like a festival. This is like a, I wouldn't say a ritual, but a festival, if you will, a feast. It's kind of like something that's kind of, um, kind of like a ritual. Well, I don't know. It's just a big feast, like when you have a big feast or a big banquet for the people in your kingdom for specific reasons. Um, and it just showed you. So we're gonna skip down a little bit because it's just saying, it's giving you kind of significant, how what colors that were all around and the type of linen and things like that. So we're gonna skip down the first 9. Now, Queen Vashti, I used to call her Ashanti. Vashti, this is his queen, okay? Remember, this is the king that they were talking about. This is his queen. Now, pay attention to how she is. Also made a feast for the women. So as her husband was making a feast for the kings and the men of the palace, his wife was also making a feast and doing things for the women, okay? So it was a separation for the queens, and there was a festival going on for the kings, for the men, and there was a festival going on for the queens, okay? In the royal palace, which the king owned. On the 7th day, we know what the 7th day is, okay? The Sabbath. Remember that? 7th day, Sabbath. Okay, so basically this is going on a Sabbath, on the Sabbath. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was glad with wine, he ordered his men who were in attendance in the presence of the king, right, to bring his queen. So he ordered, this is the king. He's been drinking wine. He's been having a good time, and he's ordering his men, go get my wife, okay, to bring his wife Vashti before the king with her royal crown in order to show her loveliness to the people and the officials. She was lovely to look upon, right? She was beautiful. But the queen, Vashti or Vashanti, I want to say Vashanti, Vashti or Vashanti, refused to come to the king's command brought by his arks, and the king was very wroth. With his rage burned within him. So the king said to the wise men who understood the times and his way, in the king's matters, they knew the right ruling and who were close to him. Let me go down. Okay, so 15. According to the law, what is done, the queen, Vashti or Vashanti, because she did not perform the command of the king, so they're basically trying to do away with her. Okay, so if she's a queen, right? She's denying and she's denying the request of her husband, the king. Okay, now mind you, the king, when a king is a ruler, right? He's not only a ruler, he's the commander in chief. He is a leader. So, and if you're a queen, you are also a leader. Okay, so if you do something specific, the women are going to look at you and say, oh, well, she's the queen, she doesn't have to do this, do that. I don't have to do that, do that. We're going to get to that. Okay. um oh, 16. One of his men answered, Mikuin answered before the king and the princess or queen Vashanti has misbehaved not only toward the king, but also toward the princes and the people who are in the presence of the king. Right? So she's being dismissive. She's being um disloyal, and she's not listening to anyone. So she's not just disrespecting her husband. She's disrespecting everyone in the kingdom. For the matter of the queen shall go forth, and all the women to make their husbands despise in their eyes when they say, um, the king commanded the queen to be brought in before him, but she did not come. So this is what I was just saying. If a queen is a queen, right? She's being also a leader. So she's also showing, okay, well, if she see if anyone that are under her, other wives, other queens, right, see that this queen is not listening to her husband, she's not listening to his command, she's being disrespectful, they're going to follow suit and do the same thing. Why? Because she's the queen, she's the leader. So she's the leader in this sense, right? Her husband's the king, she's the queen, and they both are leaders. So if other people are in their province or in their kingdom, see them behaving a certain way, they're going to follow suit as well. So if the wives see that she's being disrespectful to her husband, she's not listening to her husband, she's not doing, you know what I mean? She's disrespecting not only her husband, but those are in the kingdom. They're going to follow suit and do the same thing, because once again, when you are a queen, when you are the head woman in charge, and you have a kingdom full of other people, you are a leader. A king's a leader, and his queen is also a leader. But if you're not leading in the right way, you're not leading in the right stance, then you're going to lead the people astray. Okay. um so let's keep going. And in 18, and in this day, Princess of Persia and Media shall say to the king's official that they heard of the matter of the king with plenty scorn and wrath. If it pleases the king to let a royal decree go on from him, and let it be recorded in the laws of Persian and the Medes, so that it may not pass away, that Vashanti shall come no more before the king. Okay, so they're trying to get rid of her. They're trying to, if they're saying that here, that if it pleases the king, we can get you a new queen. We need to get her out of there, because not only is she disrespecting you, she's disrespecting the kingdom, but she's not a good wife for you, and she's obviously not a good wife for the kingdom. She's obviously not a good leader for these women, like I was just saying. So she has to go. So they didn't play back then. You were being disloyal or disrespectful, and not listening to the commands of your husband, not doing what your husband asked you to do, or anything, you had to go. Okay. So they're getting rid of her because she's disrespectful. And let the king give her royal position to another who is better than she. Okay, one who listens. And the king degree which he makes shall proclaim throughout his rule, great it is, and the wise giving him esteem to their husband, both great and small. This is the type of woman that they are looking for, you know. And the word was good in the eyes of the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word um, of his servant. So he sent letters to the servants, princes, to each province, meaning everyone in that kingdom, or in that city, town, whatever, and its own writings, and every people in their language, to each man shall be a master in his own house and speak the language of his people. So they let it word out. Okay, the king is looking for a new wife. The king needs a new wife. The wife that's there, she's getting ready to be tossed out. We need a new. So they're giving the word out that hey, the king needs a new wife. So this is, don't worry, Esther, she's gonna make her come in. I know you guys are like, where's Esther in all of this? Well, I wanted you to kind of see where she comes placed in, because I didn't want to go directly to where she was and you guys would be lost and be like, okay, well, what did that have to do with Esther? You know? Okay. Um. So to keep going, I'm gonna skip through. You guys can take it on your own at your own risk to read ahead. But for the time's sake of the video, I'm trying to skim it through because I don't want to miss you guys too much. But this video is specifically on Esther, so I want to actually stay on topic with Esther and getting her story told. Okay. So now where I left off, the king is looking for a new queen, right? Um. We're going to jump down to chapter 2, verse 8. And it came to be, when the king's command had decree were heard, meaning when people got wind of him needing a new wife, and when the women were gathered into the hand of Haggai, that Esther too was taken into the king's palace into the hand of Haggai's garden of the women. Okay, so as Esther is making her entry, okay, so they got wind of the king and the new wife, and the women are making their way to the king's kingdom to show themselves in front of him to see who's worthy to be his wife. Okay. And the young woman pleased him, and she received a long commitment from him. So he hastened to give her preparations and portions, and gave her 7 choice female servants from the king's palace, and he moved her and her female servants to the best palace in the house of the women. Esther had not made known her people or relatives, or Mordecai for Mordecai had commanded her not to make it known. Okay, so Mordecai, I skipped that, sorry, is her uncle. Okay, so Esther was under the care of her uncle, and her uncle actually is the one who heard of the king needed a new wife, and he told Esther, okay, you're going to go into the king's kingdom, you're going to show yourself, and we're going to try to get you to be his wife, but do not tell him that you are of the Israelites. Do not tell him that you are related to the slaves. You are related to these people that are outside the kingdom, because we don't know the outcome. Okay, so do not tell him. This is what he told Esther going in. Do not tell him that you are related to the Israelites. Don't say that you're from any of these people as of yet. Okay, because we don't know if he's okay with them, or if there's any discrepancy or anything like that. So he told her not to mention it. Okay. Um, so he commanded her, and every day her uncle Mordecai walked about in front of the courtyard. So she got chosen to be his queen. Okay. And every day Mordecai walked about in front of the courtyard of the women's courts to learn of Esther's welfare and what is done to her. So he's basically keeping a close eye on her, keeping a close watch from afar. He walked up to the gate. Okay. Now when the turn of each young woman came to the king, after she had completed 12 new moons according to the regulations of women, for the days of their preparation were complete as follows: 6 new moons with oil, myrrh, and 6 new moons with perfumes, and with the preparation of women. Thus prepared the young women went to the king, and whatever she asked for was given to take with her from the house of the women into the king's palace. In the evening she went. In the morning she returned to the second house of the women into the hand of one of the king's men. I can't say that name. I'm so sorry, y'all. one of the king's eunuchs, guardian of the concubines. She would not come into the kings again, and unless the king delight in her and call for her by name. Okay, so this is the rules of the wives. Okay, well, of the woman that will be soon to be the wife. And we'll go at 15. And when the turn came for Esther, the daughter of Abigail, the uncle of, I mean, the niece of, I don't know why that says the uncle of Mordecai, who was taking her as a daughter. So I guess they wrote that wrong because I didn't read that wrong. That they were trying to say her uncle had taken her, um, taken her as his daughter to come into the king, and she sought no matter but with Haggai, the king's guardian of the women, advised, and Esther found favor in the eyes of all who saw her, meaning she was very beautiful. And Esther was taken to the king into his royal palace in the 10th moon, and the new moon of the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther more than all the women, and she found favor in and love and commitment in his eyes more than all the maidens. He set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti or Vashanti. So he fell in love with Esther more than any other woman. She caught his eye. She probably had great wisdom. It's like something that he saw in her. He fell in love with her and made her his queen. Okay. And the king made a great feast, and a feast of Esther for all the officials and the servants, and he proclaimed a release in the province and gave gifts according to the means of the king. Okay, so he made a feast for her. This is a celebration. I have a new wife. She's beautiful, and it was basically for Esther. And when the maidens were assembled a second time, Malachi, her uncle, sat within the king's gate. Esther had not made known to her relatives and her people yet, as Malachi commanded her, for Esther obeyed the commands of Malachi as she was being raised by him. So this is a good characteristic that Esther has already. She knows already how to obey those that are in charge or over her. She obeyed her uncle when her uncle told her, do not tell them of your true identity, who you are related to, and she still has not done that. So this shows a great characteristic of Esther already. She knows how to obey. So meaning that she's now this new wife and this new queen. She's already going to do what the other queen, the last queen, didn't know how to do, which was obey her husband, obey the king. So this is already a great characteristic that she has that the other queen did not have. She knows how to obey her husband and obey those that are in a charge of her or ahead of her. She knows the do's and don'ts, and she knows how to be obedient, basically. Okay. And that's something probably the king picked up on and saw in her, and it probably was the reason why he made her queen, because he kind of can see that potential. Okay, she knows how to be obedient. You know what I mean? In those days, while Mordecai sat within the king's gate, two of the king's men or doorkeepers were wroth, meaning they were upset, and sought to lay hands on the king. And the matter became known to Mordecai, who informed the king who informed the queen Esther, and Esther spoke to the king in Mordecai's name. So two of the king's handmen or gatekeepers or whatever, they were angry for whatever reason. The king probably did something or had a command that they didn't like or whatever, and they were angry at the king, and they're talking behind the king's back saying, you know what, we want to take the king out. Okay, we want to lay hands on him. We want to fight him. We want to probably kill him. But Mordecai always being outside of the gates, keeping a close eye on Esther or trying to make sure that she's okay, and trying to stay in close range with Esther. he overheard them. So he told Esther, he found a way to get to Esther and tell Esther, hey, tell the king to watch his back, because he has two of his men that are upset with him for whatever reason, and they're saying that they want to, I overheard them saying that they want to lay hands on him, or they want to kill him, they want to, whatever they were saying. Mordecai told it to Esther so she could tell the king. Okay. And let's see. And when the matter was searched into, meaning they looked into it, it was confirmed, and both were hung on a wooden structure, and it was written in the book. So yeah, that Mordecai was looking out, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, those two men, they were trying to lay hands on the king. They got taken out. Okay, they got taken out. 3. So after this event, the king promoted Haman. Um, he's an Agonite, and exalted him and seated him higher of all the princes. Okay, so at this time, the king he already took out 2 of his men, which means he promoted someone else that he thought he could trust. Okay. And all the king's servants who were in the king's gate bowed, and they did obedience to Haman, for the king had commanded them concerning him. Mordecai had not bowed or did obedience. So yeah, Mordecai was like, I'm not bowing down to dude who, he's not nobody to me. I only bow down to the Most High. And the king's servants who were in the servants' gate said to Mordecai, why do you disobey the king's command? And it came to be, and when they spoke to him daily, he would not listen to them. And they told Haman to see whether the words of Mordecai would stand, for he had told them that he was uh, a Yehudi. um, so basically, he did this on a daily basis. They bowed down to him, and Mordecai didn't. So when Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow or did obedience, Haman was filled with wrath. But in his discipline in his eyes, he wanted to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had informed him of the people of Mordecai. Therefore, Haman sought to destroy all of, I'm sorry, y'all, all of Yehudim, who were throughout all the reigns of the king and the people of Mordecai. Okay, so basically, Mordecai, which is the uncle of Esther, okay, he did not want to bow down to the not the king, Haman, which is now the kind of the commander in chief, the, what do you call that, the general or whatever, to the king. And he didn't like it. Mordecai said, I don't bow down to anybody but the Most High. I am of the Most High, basically what he said. I am one of the, the Israelites, or the children of Israel. And he was like, I'm not bowing down to them. So Haman had got upset, extremely upset. He wanted to be wrathful. He said, you know what? He wanted to not only kill or get rid of Mordecai, which is the uncle of Esther, he wanted to get rid of all his people as well, which would be the people of Esther. He wanted to get rid of all of her relatives and her people, unknowingly, of course, because remember, they still do not know that these are Esther's people. But because Haman is so ego driven, and he's so, oh, you're not going to bow down to me, okay, we're going to get rid of you, type of thing. So unknowingly, he's thinking and he's conjuring up a plan to unalive and get rid of all of Esther's people that are outside these gates, including her uncle, especially her uncle. Okay. Where was I? So we're gonna keep going. In hindsight, Haman had conjured up a plan, like I said, to get rid of, all of Esther's people outside the gate unknowingly. He went to the king and asked his permission. and the king, because he doesn't know the significance of who these people are around, outside the gate, and because Haman at this state is his, is his commander in chief. He's like, and he just promoted him. He was like, okay, well, whatever you want, yeah, I'm with it. You want to get rid of those people? Let's do it. So the king, he, like I said, he doesn't know that those are his wife's people, his queen's people. He doesn't know this still just of yet. So of course he's going to agree with his commander in chief, and he's like, you know what? Okay, you want to get rid of those people? Awesome. So we're gonna go down to let's see. Um, let's go down to chapter 4. I'm trying to get through it. There's so much that's going on. Actually, I'm gonna skip that. So he's I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah. Okay. So Esther had pretty much got wind of this idea, of course, through her uncle. He explained to her, okay, this thing happened, and he went to the king, which is your husband, and he wants to get all of our people wiped out. So Esther, instead of being in a panic, she actually took a risk, a extremely high risk here, to save her people. Um, let's go to chapter 5. And it came to be on the third day that Esther put her royal apparel on and stood in the inner court of the king's palace and in front of the king's house, while the king sat on his royal throne in the royal house opposite of the entry of the house. And it came to be, when the king saw Queen Esther standing there in the court, that she found favor in his eyes, and the king um, held out to Esther and the golden scepter which was in his hand, and Esther went near and touched the top of the scepter. And the king said to her, "What is it, Queen Esther, and what is your request?" "Up to half of my reign is be given to you." And Esther answered, "If it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come today to the feast which I have prepared for him." And the king said, "Get Haman at once, and do as Esther has said." And then the king and Haman went to the feast and Esther had prepared. And the king said to Esther at the feast of wine, "What is your petition, and what is given to you, and what is your request?" "Up to half of my reign, and it is done." And Esther answered and said, "My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in your sight, in the sight of the king, if it pleases the king to give my petition and perform my request, then let the king and Haman come to the feast which I have make for him, and tomorrow I shall do according to the word of the king." And Haman went out that day rejoicing with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, and he did not stand tremble before him, he was filled with wrath against Mordecai. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there for a second. So Esther put herself in a position to where she's not supposed to, unless the king called for her. Remember, like he called for Vashti or Vashti, the previous queen, like he called for her before, and she did not come to him. The queen is not supposed to come to the king, especially at these time of the feast and stuff like that, unless the king called for them. And the king did not call for Esther. She voluntarily went to him, which definitely put her in a position to he could have, if he did not see favor in her sight, anything could have happened. He could have gotten angry with her. He could have, she put her life basically on the line and in jeopardy for her people because she got wind of Haman trying to off her people, including her uncle that are outside the gates, and she stepped into this leadership role of trying to save her people and trying to find favor in her husband, the king's sight, so that he could have mercy on her people's lives and not kill them or not off them, not get rid of them. So she's creating these feasts, and she hasn't made her petition known just yet, but she's warming them up to it. She's gonna make a feast for him. She's gonna cook for him. So she's gonna do it the regular traditional way. Okay. Um, I'm trying to get through it, y'all. Okay, so chapter 6. On the night of the sleep of the king, he fled and commanded to bring the book of records. And they were read before the king. I'm trying to incorporate the important things because I don't want you to be like, what does that have to do with Esther? But all of this has a lot to do with Esther and her role. So basically, okay, for the time sake of this video, because it's a lot, I thought the chapters were going to be a little bit shorter. So, but they're not. They're actually long chapters. um, So basically, Queen Esther, she made the petition. She basically revealed her identity. Well, before she did that, she called for all the women and all of her people to fast while she was putting her life in jeopardy to speak with the king on their behalf. She needed everyone in her kingdom, her uncle, her other relatives outside of this gate, to fast while she was putting her life on the line on her end. They needed to put themselves on the line as well and fast and pray to the Most High on her behalf. So one, that the king doesn't get angry with her or try to off her in the attempt of approaching him when she's not supposed to, and two, on their own behalves, that actually she can be able to touch her husband's heart and he turn a blind eye and give mercy and not want to off those people. So while they were fasting, while she was making the feast and making her petition known to her husband, which is the king, she also finally revealed her identity and said, you know what, those people that you are trying to kill outside those gates, those are my people. I can't let you do it. If you have favor in my sight, if you love me, if you if you find favor in my sight, and if you love me, would you just spare my people? And of course, he not only agreed to do what he desired to do, I mean what she wanted him to do. He spared those people. He did not kill them. For one, because he loved his wife, and two, he respected what she did. And also her uncle, she made sure that her husband knew, hey, my uncle was, he's the one that heard of these two men that were trying to off you, or they wanted to put hands on you. He was the one who told me these things and made me know of them, so I let you know of these things, and those men are no longer here. So if my uncle did not do that deed, who knows what those men would have done. And also she made sure that he knew the truth about Haman and his misdeeds towards her uncle, and the things that he was doing and saying behind the king's back as well. He made sure he knew. So not only did Queen Esther was able to save her people, she also got it to where her uncle was now brought into the palace, and he took Haman's spot, which was the commander in chief, because he's the one that's actually could be trusted. You know, look what he did to save the king's back when someone was trying to harm the king without the king's knowledge. He made sure that the king knew about it through his niece, of course. So yes, Mordecai was able to become the commander in chief. Um, Esther, she saved her people. Um, they were still able to be inside the gates. And Haman was actually offed because of his disloyalty and his dishonesty into the whole thing. So the story of Esther was very, very short, but at the same time it was kind of long. So with that being said, if you guys could take your time and kind of read it yourself and get your own understanding of it, because at the time frame of the video, I don't want the video to be too long, and I thought the chapters were, since there were only 10 chapters, that they were a little shorter than they were, but I didn't want to read all of it and then have to explain it, and then, you know, for the time's sake of the video, I didn't want it to be too long. But in On-Site, Queen Esther's job was to, one, she knew how to be obedient not only to her uncle, but that was one of the qualifications that was needed to be a perfect queen and the type of queen that the king was looking for at the time, because the previous queen was not that type of queen. But Esther showed those qualifications and personality traits, which caused her to be chosen. So she not only, she had to leave her uncle, leave her other relatives outside the gate, leave her family, and she didn't have a choice in this matter. Her uncle was the head of her. So her uncle put her up to this. So she, at first, she didn't have a choice in the matter. So she went from not having a choice and being told something, but, and she gets the position to be the queen and the wife, and she went, you know, now she has dominion. Now she has a say so. Now she is in charge. So, but like I said, she put herself on the line with the king because, you know, she wasn't actually supposed to interrupt him or come to him at the times of these feasts unless he called for her, and she put herself on the line for the sake of her people. She did not forget where she came from. She did not forget her uncle. She did not get big-headed and say, well, I'm the queen now. I don't give a damn what happens to y'all outside that gate. Y'all are no longer my people. These people that are in the palace are now my people, and to hell with y'all. She didn't do any of that. She stayed true to herself, even though she went from being in a very, very obedient position to a now still obedient position, but she's now, she has a little bit of authority because she's the queen. So she went from being a nobody to a somebody, but she did not forget where she came from. She kept her heart solely on her people, and what she did was very courageous for the sake of her people so that they would not get killed off. Okay, so that was very commending. My light just went out. It always does it at the end of the video. So, yes, she was very, very insightful, very, very courageous, putting herself on the line for the sake of her people. She made sure that her uncle was brought in and he was praised for the good deeds that he did that the king did not know about, but she knew about it. She made sure her uncle was well taken care of, and she made sure all was well with her people. So she was courageous. She, I would say, was the queen of preparation because she had to prepare strategically how to do all of these things, how to have her people fast for her while she put herself on the line, and made the request to the king, and it worked, you know. So all praises go to Queen Esther for being the queen of saviors, to be the savior queen. She saved her people. She did not forget where she came from, and that is such an amazing, amazing characteristic, because even though she was queen, she definitely didn't forget her people or where she came from, and she actually saved their lives. She saved the life of her uncle. She saved the lives of all her other relatives that were outside that gate. So go Queen Esther! So that is it for this video. Let me know in the comments, what did I miss? What is something that you want to portray, or something that you want to say about Esther that I probably had forgotten about saying or mentioned. Sorry. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Try to get my light back on for a second. That is it for this video. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. We are on our way. We almost there. So 100 subscribers. So subscribe. Subscribe. Help. Subscribe. Help me. Help me. Love you guys. Y'all have a great day. Have a great night. Happy Sabbath. Have a great Sabbath. I love y'all. Be blessed.